Hello and welcome to this seminar titled Assuring a Healthy Future. Type 2 Diabetes Prevention is in your hands. First off, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Martha Medrano, and I'm currently a master's student with the University of New England. I do have my bachelor's of nutrition from the University of Illinois, Chicago. I became a certified diabetes educator in 2009. I'm married and I have two young daughters. And also what motivated me to become a dietitian in the first place was just some family history of people with diabetes. I thought nutrition had a lot to do with it, and I was not wrong. Our learning objectives for today would be state one way to prevent diabetes. Then we get into the nutrition part, describe what a calorie is and healthy ways to cut. State one saturated and one unsaturated fat food source and healthy ways to cut those. Demonstrate one way to use a nutrition facts label. Describe or demonstrate how to balance a meal. And finally, identify a simple plan to become more active. So our presentation plan would start with defining what prediabetes is, why prevention is ideal, find the studies or talk a little bit about the studies that found ways to prevent diabetes, and then get into the introduction on nutrition, on calories, food labels, fat types, the plate method, look over that. Think about ways to become more active and find additional resources. So first off, what is prediabetes? There's a lot of information out there, especially now with the internet. So we want to make sure we know what we're talking about. Prediabetes is a condition with higher than normal blood sugar levels. So when you get your blood work done at your clinic, your levels should come up high, but not high enough to be diagnosed with diabetes. You may not have any symptoms, so that's why lots of people kind of get taken away when they get diagnosed with prediabetes. So the fasting blood sugar should normally be under 100 for people without diabetes. Therefore, when your blood sugar is from 100 to 125, it's higher than normal, but not high enough to be diagnosed with diabetes. There's also another blood sugar value called a hemoglobin A1C, and when that level is between 5.7 and 6.4, you can be diagnosed with prediabetes. Also, sometimes some clinics might want to do a fasting and then a 2-hour blood sugar level, which means you would be given something sweet to drink and have to wait there, and they would recheck your sugar in 2 hours. So if that level is between 140 and 199, you could also be diagnosed with prediabetes. And how would you know if it's not diabetes yet? Let's say you don't have blood work. Again, you might be symptoms free, but if you notice any of these symptoms, definitely go see your doctor. Urinating more than usual, being very thirsty, even if you drink something, you're still thirsty. You're hungry even though you've eaten something. You're more tired than usual. You might have blurry vision. You might feel tingling in your extremities. You might see that your cuts or bruises are not healing as quickly as they used to. So you do want to see a health professional if you have any of those symptoms. So why should we prevent prediabetes? Well, the numbers of U.S. adults with prediabetes is very high currently at 86 million. That would add to the 29 million people with diabetes already. If they're left untreated, the prediabetes individuals, our prevalence rate in the U.S. could rise significantly in just a matter of 30 more years. And so we want to prevent diabetes, so we need to know what is diabetes, have it more defined. We might have different notions of what it is by family members, but basically it's a chronic medical condition. It can be managed with diet, exercise, and sometimes also the need for medication. Um, Maintaining a healthy lifestyle can help keep people off medications. If it's not controlled for a significant amount of time, diabetes can lead to complications. And these are all things we may have seen or heard of already. People with heart disease, damage to their vision, damage to their kidneys, damage to their nerves. None of this is something that's desired. So definitely we want to prevent diabetes to not get controlled. We want to keep it controlled. And if we are in a stage of prediabetes, we want to prevent diabetes altogether. So what can be done to prevent? There have been numerous studies that have shown healthy diet and exercise and a modest amount of weight can help lower the number of new cases of people with diabetes. So there's in 2002 we had very large landmark studies that found this, and newer studies have found maybe vegetarianism, maybe being a vegan, no animal products at all, can help lower the risk of diabetes, or just definitely just increasing your fruit and vegetable intake can also have a good outcome. So a modest amount of weight loss is 7% according to the study in 2002. For a 200-pound person, this would be something around 14 pounds. And half to 1 pound of weight loss a week is normal and healthy. So again, you don't want to do anything too restrictive. You don't want to do anything too drastic. But you want to lose weight slowly but steadily so that your blood sugar numbers improve and you can prevent diabetes. And what is lifestyle intervention? So this source defined it as anything that included exercise, diet, and maybe smoking, cessation, counseling, stress management. That's something that's being changed by the individual to promote a healthier lifestyle. So how do you get started? All this information sounds great, but what do you do next? So basically you want to inform yourself, get the right resources, make a plan based on those resources, set small measurable goals so that you can reach them and move on to the next goal, and find support from your medical staff, family, friends. When we talk about the nutrition portion of the healthy lifestyle, the intervention, we've got to talk about calories. So calories are the energy found in foods. All food and drink except for water has calories. Everybody has different calorie needs, and they may use calories at different rates based on their age, gender, and their genetics, their family history. How do you know how many calories you're consuming? So most foods or foods in a package have nutrition facts label that you can look at, and we'll go over and see how do you use labels. We'll get some hands-on time after the presentation, but basically in the nutrition facts label, you could start at serving size, and it tells you that 1.5 cups of this product has 240 calories. So what happens if you don't eat a 1.5 cups? Maybe you ate 3 cups. That would double the calories to 480, and it would double all the numbers here for fat, cholesterol, sodium, carbohydrate, and protein. Another way to find the calories on foods that's not in a package, such as fruit, vegetables, you can look into a Calorie King book or their website. Most searches you can do for how many calories does a medium apple have, and you'll get an approximate answer online. Also, people keeping track of their intake with an app on their phone. They can enter all their intake and it'll tell them how many calories they're taking in. how do you cut calories? So for weight loss, we need to cut calories. Usually that sounds not favorable to do, but when we're cutting calories, we're not necessarily getting rid of food and trying to live off of small portions of food. It's more so food that has less calories. You want to put those in and take some of the higher calorie foods out of your diet. The easiest way that I think to do this is to look at what you're drinking. A can of soda has 150 calories. How many cans of soda do you have a day? For example, you have 3 cans of soda, that would be 450 calories. If you switch all of those for water, you are saving 450 calories, which will amount to some weight loss gradually. Also, in terms of putting in solid food instead of liquid calories, eating an orange instead of trying to get your vitamins from a juice would save you 50 calories. Baking your meats instead of frying them would save you calories from no oil. Instead of having an extra serving of pasta on your plate, having the vegetables on your plate so that you're eliminating, extra calories from wanting or needing seconds. And again, another beverage, skim milk will save you 70 calories per 8 ounces because it has no fat versus whole milk that has full fat in there. And then moving on to fat, which was in the landmark study, the diabetes prevention trial in 2002. They had participants cut calories, cut fat. So therefore we're looking at those items and how you can do something similar. Fats have more calories per gram. They're not all the same. There are definitely healthy fats out there, which I think most people are familiar with. But if you're not, the healthy fats are called unsaturated. They lower bad cholesterol. They raise good. These are blood values in your laboratory report. Some unsaturated fat food sources are avocados, olives, canola oil, nuts and seeds. And then the saturated and trans fat, I should say, they raise bad cholesterol. So saturated fat would be anything that's solid at room temperature. And trans fat is found in a variety of products that usually don't have labels. So thinking about pastries you buy one by one, things like that. Pork and vegetable lard have saturated fat. The chicken skin, fried foods can have both saturated and trans fat in them. So this is not saying don't ever have them, but it's something to think about as far as how frequently you use them in your diet. What are some healthy ways to cut fat? Well, as we said in the previous slide, frying food less often. Are you in charge of the cooking? Can you bake, grill, steam, or boil more often than frying? You can saute foods in broth. If you need like a moist medium to cook in, it could be broth, it could be salsa instead of using oil. Another thing we mentioned about cutting calories, you also cut fat when you switch from whole milk to low-fat milk or skim milk or even soy milk. Lean sources of protein would also save you some fat if you're used to having just ribs and a lot of meat close to the bone. Those usually have more fat in them. So think about chicken breasts, fish fillets, things like that. Also, meatless days are very popular nowadays, not having any meat products, but getting your protein from beans, tofus, vegetables. Have a day like that for your family, perhaps. Switching to low-fat popcorn's a tasty and it's a healthy option instead of potato tortilla chips that are cooked in oil. Ordering your next pizza could be meat-free because your cheese would be your protein, and then ordering less cheese. That's I think it could help make everybody happy at your household. And we will continue on to the next part of the seminar in the next video. Thank you.